Hey, Mike, you can't piss on um, hospitality. I won't allow it.
No, no, absolutely not.
Hey, everybody, this is the first last of Nerdom, and we're celebrating our 100th episode. We've been around for 100 episodes, and did you think we'd make it this far, Mike?
Honestly, no, I didn't. I mean, let's put it this way. I was like, I'm ready. I'm down, just like you are. To keep going. For as long
Hmm.
as it feels good, feels right, whatever. So, in other words, as long as it's not like super dedicated work or whatever, because both of
Hmm.
this is a passion for us. So, no, I just kind of planned on, taking it as it is.
Hmm.
And here we are.
Yeah.
It does kind of blow my mind a little bit that we are at 100
Hmm.
episodes, just from the volume that we have, and I really
Hmm.
I really need to get a hold of that before it gets too big,
Yeah.
to make a nice neat chart or something to kind of show where we've kind of
Pro-
gone in this
progression.
journey. Yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Hmm.
I've found new genres that I normally would not have given the time of day before. I being mainly horror in general as a whole genre, of appreciating it, the vast scope of it, just like
Hmm.
I can appreciate the vast scope of sci-fi, and
Hmm.
also a little bit of manga, a little bit of anime. That has kind of bloomed a little bit more of recent.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
which we'll get into over time in the coming months, I'm sure. But yeah, how about you? Did you you even think that we were gonna like go this far, this long, or whatever, just
Yeah.
for two
I,
guys going?
Yeah, I had no idea. I just kind of went in with no expectations and just let things go where they may.
Yep,
And yeah, it's anything that the channel's gained or lost is just I've kind of rolled with the punches, and it's every once in a while you get your hopes up, your expectations a little high, and then
sure,
it shows you what is actually going on, and you go, okay, I'm fine with that, so
absolutely, yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it is what it is. And I was gonna get some balloons for the occasion, but I was afraid I'd get shot, so um, I just kind of bypassed the balloons.
Right,
But
yeah, yeah,
just to make it a little topical, I don't know.
yeah, absolutely, yeah. That was a weird boy. It was a weird thing. I think the zeitgeist of the internet is UFOs or some such thing or whatever. I don't know, whatever. Yeah, or not just that, but the balloon that you're referencing the balloon that happened around the same time as the Super Bowl a few days before it,
Yeah,
I think, and then
I
it
think so.
became like this thing and all. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and all right, so we've prolonged it long enough. So our our topic today, I posed a challenge to Mike. I know he wasn't real fond of our Avatar discussion because he's not a big Avatar guy. So I said, well, let's make him suffer a little bit more and challenge him to watch Skinamarink, which, if you're not aware, it's this experimental movie, very experimental. And I
Yes.
said, okay, well, a lot of people are either saying it's the best movie ever, they love it, or it's totally unwatchable. I couldn't make it through it. So my challenge was for us to watch it, see if either of us could make it through, and if one of us couldn't, we would tap out and say that the movie trolled us, and we'd watch Troll 2 as well. So my big question to Mike is, did you make it through the movie?
I did. It took a little. I'm not gonna lie. It took a minute to get used to. But once you get to the flavor, and I had to break it up in a couple chunks to absorb it all. But for the most part, I liked it. I liked it a lot more than let's just put it this way. It's not comparing apples to oranges. I don't want to poo-poo somebody who wants to go watch Avatar. Avatar 2 was fine. I was open that I didn't really care for it. It's just not my cup of tea. It's not that there's
Right, right.
anything like I can appreciate aspects of it that I can, and that's being a dad, being a parent in general helps you kind of be able to take in other things that you normally would. Nobody's going to be putting on Thomas the Tank Engine because they want to. For example,
Yeah,
obviously my kids
right.
aren't that little, but
Right.
All the same, I enjoy this a lot more. I got a lot more traction out of this than I did Avatar. Just for the sake
Hmm.
of it was challenging,
Hmm.
unexpected.
Oh yeah.
You think you know what's going to happen. You don't know anything. I was, and you kind of I feel like you are shaken and made to realize you're not going to know what the hell is going on with this. Not as bad as other movies that I saw that took a little bit more than that, but enough to like kind of tell you
Yeah.
you're not Nas anymore.
Right. Yeah. And the it's interesting. The director and writer of it, he comes from YouTube. He did a YouTube channel, which I posted for our grab bag as my pick of the week for the YouTube channel. But it originally started as a YouTube short called Heck, and I think it's about 20 minutes. I didn't watch that, but the other videos on his channel are he would ask people to tell him about their nightmares, and then he would do a little short film about their nightmares.
Okay.
So and that's sort of the way I see this movie. Um, there's a genre when I was kind of researching this movie. There's a genre which I'd been kind of watching on YouTube called analog horror, which is
Mm,
the forefather of that is found footage.
okay.
And analog is sort of inspired by found footage. It's sort of but it doesn't have to be lost videotape. Like this movie is obviously not filmed by anyone, any of the characters. It's just a kind of omniscient kind of view of what's going on. It could be through the eyes of the child, but obviously the child's not recording it. So
Right.
that's sort of the way analog horror works.
Okay.
It's sort of a little bit of found footage and a little bit of ARG, which is sort of a kind of a gaming thing that goes on on the internet, where it's a real life game that people try to piece together. So it's sort of a lot of people, the lore of it is what the audience kind of digs out of what they're watching and kind of puts forth these theories and kind of builds up this sort of lore on their own. And I think Backrooms is sort of along with that. And shout out to the guy that does Backrooms, because he's actually going to do a movie as well, and he's only
Yes.
17.
Yeah.
He's
I
going
knew
to do
that.
that on his summer break.
Yeah, I knew that. You shared that link, I
uh,
believe, in our chat,
yeah, I think we'll talk
our
about that.
weekly.
Yeah,
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 absolutely. That'll tie.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely get into that in the grab bag for sure later on. But and we might touch on it here or there if
Yeah,
it's a
yeah,
if
but
it
the
strikes.
movie, but Skinamarink is there's not like a traditional narrative to it. Basically, you're seeing bits and snippets. The way it's filmed is you'll see a steady shot of the ceiling. You'll see some
Right.
toys. You'll see maybe the back of the head of a child. It's
Right. You'll
the
see
characters. Yeah,
glimpses. It's
yeah.
almost like the way that I want to say it's almost like a flashlight. Like somebody's turning
Mhm.
on the flashlight, the camera is the flashlight, in a but much more abstract and more fluid than what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the description, the various descriptions I read, basically says is about two children,
Yep.
their parents,
Kevin
the
and
father,
Kaylee.
yeah,
Yeah.
the father and the mother disappear, and then parts of the house start disappearing, and there's
Windows,
an
doors. Yep.
yeah, yeah, and there's an
Yep.
evil presence in the
Right.
house.
Right.
And I've heard various theories of what's going on. I like your idea of the flashlight. I kind of thought of it as um, the way a child looks at the world at that age, at that very small age. I think they're like supposed to be 4 or 5 or something like that.
Right.
Um,
They're in a way you're kind of seeing their peripheral their not perspective but their peripheral kind of awareness, I guess, of like because you're
yeah,
a kid and you kind of think something's going on and bump on the Sorry, go on. Sorry.
Well, yeah, and I'd almost go ahead and push it through as their perspective, because as a child, everything is new and
Right.
everything is as important as anything else. So as an adult, we've learned to kind of filter out things and kind of focus on what we could term important. Whereas a child, hey, those toys on the floor, that's important for this moment. But oh, there's my parent. Oh, that's important now. So the everything has its place in the child's world, and he
Right.
focuses on it, or she. I forget which perspective we're really following. I think it's the male child's perspective, but he kind of focuses in on the things that are important to him at that moment.
Right.
Um, Now I've heard people. I haven't really read fully, but I've heard theories that maybe the child's in a coma, but I didn't really
Wow.
get that.
I
Uh,
the like of course because I have a creative imagination when I watch these things
mhm.
let's put this way, a better way to put it would be when you watch something like this, it can't help but get the gears going, good or bad, in your mind, and that's what good movies stick with you because you kind of ponder
Mhm.
them. Some you don't do that, some you just kind of just are blown away by. But this is kind of like more of it kind of reminded me of like and of course, there is no setup here. It's just very small world building. You literally are taking on the angle and the height even of the how what you see. So obviously, it's like if you put a GoPro on a 5-year-old or whatever. I guess like from their kind of like like if you do it with a dog, you can clearly tell. Oh, okay, I get it. Like if nobody tells you anything, and you watch the footage of a dog running, you're kind of get oh this is the height that they're operating at or whatever. But to me, it
Right.
kind of had like of course, you kind of try to find the rules a little bit, and sometimes those work, sometimes they don't. But what I mean by that is like it's almost like if you like the thing that comes to mind is I've kind of found and I'll put this out later in the grab bag, but as a YouTube recommendation, this one that's a recap channel,
Mhm.
and it kind of talks about the broad arcs like for 20-30 minutes of a major storyline for manga for anime, and they talked about
Mhm.
this one that I watched recently, which was like if you came across this smell or whatever,
Mhm.
that you would become enchanted essentially, and you was essentially lose your sense of reality, and
Mhm.
you just be kind of pushed into this nebulous, formless thing, like where you can't really do anything. You can do some stuff, but basically your ability to perceive the world is taken away.
Uh-huh.
And that's kind of seems like that doesn't happen all at once, but it feels like as they get closer, as also the tension builds too, like classic too, like where I don't necessarily know that it's ever released per se, but that's a different perspective. But you are kind of thrown in this, and you slowly realize like you some really scary basic really scary things happen that cause you, I'm not gonna lie, to keep the extra light on or two a
Right.
couple nights later, which is a classic horror, I guess. But
Yeah.
what how did you take it? I mean,
Yeah, it was very interesting. It's really inspired a lot of introspection for me. Kind of, it was very good at putting you in that mindset of a child, and I started remembering a lot of the various dreams and nightmares I had as a
mm,
child, and that was cool because it was able to trigger that memory. So that was very cool of it. Now it's then both of us made it through it, but I understand those that aren't able to. It doesn't have a clear narrative. It's kind of
that's
jarring if you're not familiar with this kind of filmmaking, because
mm,
there's very little dialogue. I'd say there was probably maybe
mm,
5-10 minutes of dialogue of spoken word in it. So
right,
there's a lot of long static shots of a hallway, like I said, of child's toys. You
right,
hear a lot of
Legos
most
and
of
stuff, and
most of the sound is cartoons, because
mm,
cartoons are very much a big presence for children. And if
Right.
no parents are around, they're going to turn their cartoons on. And this supposedly takes place in 1996, I think. Um, so that
Okay.
kind of puts it before the internet, so that
Mm.
kids don't have have access to that in it. But yeah, it's and I have to say, at times it was tough watching because yeah, you're like, okay, let's go, let's go. But that's not the pace of the movie. So
Yeah.
and there's certain parts of it that really work well for me, and then
Hmm.
there's other times there was long stretches of where I understood what he was doing,
Right.
what the movie was doing, but I was not totally engaged and was like, okay,
That's
I was kind of doing something else while I was doing it,
right.
which
Right.
was helpful. And I know that it was in the theaters and made quite a bit of money for it because it was only I think took $15,000 to make, and I think
Okay.
it made $1 or $2 million in the theater. So it did very well for itself. But I would I I'm glad I watched it on TV instead because that would have been a tough watch in the theater, you know.
Yeah.
Especially if you drug your friend to see it and your friend
Yeah.
wasn't into it, and yeah, it could have been a bad scene.
Yeah, I don't think that I would have. I think that I probably would have had a much more negative view of this movie had I not seen it at home in the comfort of my like where I could start and stop it because I watched it in two goes. If I
Yeah.
didn't have that time and space to kind of like think about it and kind of get with it, if I had to see all that in one shot, in the theater, I probably would have. I'll be honest, I probably would have walked out. Probably,
Yeah.
I probably would have got to the quarter or halfway mark and have been like, okay, this isn't really clicking, and I probably would have abandoned it. But
Right.
because it does take a lot of patience, and there are parts I maybe I don't know, I don't want to say that I was impatient, but you're kind of like, okay, I got it. Like you were saying, like I get what you're doing, and I'm on board. But it's like, can we go a little can we go
Yeah.
somewhere that's like doing something? And maybe
Yeah.
that's the I'm maybe I'm the problem because I'm used to
Mhm.
instant gratification and movies and understanding, this and that. I don't know, but I still enjoyed it. I
Yeah.
enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
And again, it's an hour and 40-minute movie. I think
It's not bad. It's just
right. I think if
in
they'd
one
cut out
shot.
about
It's
15, 20 minutes of it, they
yeah,
made it hour and 20, hour and 25. I think it would have been better. There's, I mean, there's like that 10th shot of the toys. Did we need it? I mean,
right, right.
that sort of thing. But you know, it's I haven't heard a lot of the opinions of the people that thought it was magnificent, so I'd be kind of interesting to hear their perspective. But
Sure.
again, it's all we could do is kind of tell you how we felt while watching it. I will I do want to mention that the writer director, um, his name, where is it?
Kyle.
Yeah, Kyle Edward Ball.
Yeah,
He
here
did
we go.
dedicate the movie to the Joshua Bookhalter, and I was kind of curious about that. I looked into it. He was the assistant director, and it said that the dedicated that thanks to his family, this movie was possible. The thing was, he when he passed away, he was in possession of the sole um copy of the audio to the movie.
Huh.
So it was after he had passed away and the family had time to grieve, the director then had to ask the family to help him have access to his assistant director's computer so he could actually get the audio. So with the help of his family, he was able to get that. But yeah, so that's a bit of a sad um, connection. But that's what that dedication in the front of the movie is about.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I can't elevate it. I'm not gonna say that it's the greatest I've ever seen because
No,
I
no,
just didn't come away with that perspective.
no.
I didn't hate it at all. Matter of fact, I think what is more important for me that I got from this was the fact that um, I'm open to these kind of films. Basically,
Hmm.
this is kind of like a good bridge, I guess, maybe.
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see what happens with Backroom, or
Yeah.
something along those
Hmm.
lines, that like just like what can come
Yeah.
from that, because it is the next few ones that come out are gonna be, and then it's gonna be carbon copy like forever, and then it's gonna be
Oh, yeah.
garbage. But
Yeah.
hopefully not. But the first few ones that come out, like I think we'll find one that hits its stride with me. Maybe, I don't know,
Hmm.
or and you too. But
Right.
I liked it. I was
Hmm.
on board. Like
Yeah.
if anything, the only criticism I would say is watch it. Watch it in shorter chunks, and I think you'll be a lot more happy.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like
mhm.
episodic, like that was what made Matt Reeves' Batman work for me, and I really liked it, and I've grown to love it over time.
Mhm.
Like had I if but how however same thing, if I had seen that movie in the theater, I would have been like, three, come on guys, like let's like wrap it up, like let's
Yeah.
get going, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yeah.
have that as much with this, but it was still there. A
Right.
little bit too
And
long in a shot or something, whatever. But what do I know?
and again, it's there's a lot of various in to lesser and greater quality this analog horror usually on YouTube it's kind of broken up episodically
Right,
and they're about five
right.
to 10 minutes a piece
Yep,
so
yep.
yeah that's maybe the better way
Oh
of
man.
viewing this because yeah there's only so long you could watch that and be fascinated or gripped by it. And to be honest, I do enjoy that, but there's a few different channels that
Mm,
will grab one of those series and kind of compact it down to an hour of all the juicy bits and
mm,
kind of gives
okay.
you the story as they talk about it.
Right, right.
So I like those channels watching that.
Yep. Same.
And so you
In
you
other
get
arenas, yeah, for
yeah
sure. Recaps.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So those are fun, and so yeah, it'll be interesting, like you said, to see what comes from YouTube and these different filmmakers that have made their mark on there. And this director, he did say he was I forget the whole list of directors he was inspired by, but the two that stood out was Stanley Kubrick and David Lynch, and you could definitely see David Lynch's hand on a lot of this. And in as I know you haven't seen it yet, which we're planning on doing it at some point. His movie Eraserhead was his first movie, which was
Yeah.
highly experimental as well.
Right.
So
That's true.
yeah, so for Ball to go from this to whatever his ultimate big movie is going to be will be interesting and to see where it's he's grounded and has the tools and does know how to make a movie but to refine his craft and get it to a certain level after he's done a few movies it will be
Hmm.
very interesting to see.
Oh yeah. Well, one of the fun things too is, when you have a young guy like that, they're hopefully they'll be doing this for, hopefully they don't get burned out or whatever, or they don't get a
Mhm.
bad experience, and
Yep.
with the whole experience, and like they're just like, you know what, screw you guys, I'm just gonna go become like a, what's the guy who always, he's pretty sharp, he created The Walking Dead,
Oh,
what's his
Robert
face?
Kirkman.
Yeah, Robert Kirkman, or the, yeah, he did Watchmen too. He kind of has a very pointed opinion on on
Zack
comics,
Snyder,
and
yeah.
yeah, on all, it doesn't matter. But anyway, hopefully he has like a very, I mean, if this is just a start, I think he's got a very bright future, is what I'm saying. And I
Oh
can't
yeah.
wait to see more of what comes from his mind, for
Hmm.
sure. Um,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think again there's not to say that we could get into a lot of the various theories and whatnot
Right.
but we're not really a spoiler channel so I don't see yeah there's not a whole lot more we could dig into this unless you had something more to kind of
No, just you kind of, you see like, it really plays with you,
yeah.
and really tries to follow that creepy, vibe. Um, I, yeah, yeah. Some of it, like when it works very well. It just,
Yeah.
wish there was more, a little bit
Oh,
more
and
of that. But yeah,
you
I think you're
playing
right.
yeah you playing that reminded me something at times sometimes it's subtitled and sometimes it's not, and I think he wanted to record it very organically, and
Hmm.
so the audio that was saved is intentionally bad at times. It's sort of like the overheard conversation in the room. You don't always hear it all. So he does subtitle it when it's not, when you can't figure out what's being said, so that you are aware of what's being said. Also, it's kind of filmed kind of with a lot of grain and very lo-fi. It's almost not quite, but it's almost videotape quality at times. But yeah, it's intentionally kind of done that because I guess when you see kind of uh, quote unquote bad film, you think of it as being older. So it kind of gets you in that mood of it being a 1996 movie, but not
Right.
really, because if you were there during 1996, we didn't really have bad video except for, I guess, on videotape. But
Yeah, and I hate to be like whatever, but it kind of puts a heinous kind of sheen on it. But I mean, this movie already has that. But the only other thing I would say is kind of like looking the other way around this, it could just be that this is like the last. This could be the kid's death, is essentially like what it is. Like
yeah,
it's a horrific,
yeah,
macabre dive into that perspective. That's kind of the
yeah,
only other way that I could really
yep,
like where it makes sense kind of sort of thing, like
hmm,
where it's kind of like where like that is. It's kind of like it reminds me there was a famous episode of The Sopranos where it was like a year or two before it ended, and it was like some of the main characters. I'm going to get them wrong, so I'm not even going to try to name them. But Tony was there, and there's like a dream sequence, and basically a question is asked
yeah.
like,
Some of the names you might get demonetized for saying, but yeah.
yeah, maybe, right, maybe, right, maybe. But basically, the gist is, when it's your time, do you hear the gunshot? Will you hear
Mm,
the gunshot? And I think Tony is having this conversation in this dream state or whatever, and and it kind of like leaves it like, do you hear the gunshots? And famously,
mhm,
foreshadowing later on, spoiler alert, for the decade or so that it's been off the air or whatever, or rolling
mhm.
up on that.
Yep.
Basically, the series ends kind of like that, like where it just fades to black. A lot of people didn't like it,
Mhm.
whatever, but it's kind of like assumed. And then later on, you kind of get you get. I'm not going to say what he said, but the main creator of the show is basically, yeah, that's essentially a way to look at it.
Mhm.
That is how it is. But anyway, the point being, when it's your time, what happens? Nobody knows.
Mhm.
There's a very different genres of that kind of thing out
Mhm.
there,
Yeah.
in books and media. But I kind of took it as that in my kind of like my perspective.
Your head canon. So
Yeah,
that's how you saw it. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, there's not any gore in it, but there is
no,
blood in it.
yeah, right.
But yeah, it's
Like reality, like if
mhm,
something were to happen to you, like if you were to fall down, like, and then they kind of say that in this, and or they allude to it in the
mhm.
very limited dialogue, something about a fall, and you would, if it was a really bad fall, you'd see, like what you see here. Maybe, I don't know, but
Yep. Yeah, and again with the child, you're gonna push them away. They're not going to see the whole thing. They're
right,
only going to see, yeah, maybe a wall with blood on it, or something. They're not going to see the whole thing. So yeah,
right,
and then it also has that sense of the fear of the unknown. There's a lot of unseen things. There's a point where the father tells, or some voice tells the child to look under the bed, and you you immediately think, okay, I'm gonna see something, and then you don't, and then but it's when he rises back up, he sees something or doesn't see something that's
right,
kind of surprising. But yeah, it's there's some of those that play. I wish there was more interaction with the audience to engage them a little bit more. But again, I think that'll come with time. I think it's a solid entry. Again,
right.
we put it out to the audience. I challenge you to watch this movie
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
to see if the movie trolls you or not. See if you can make it through. And with that, did you did you go ahead and tackle Troll 2 as well?
I did. Yeah, I actually I had I don't recall seeing this per se.
Hmm.
But I remember being in third, fourth grade, and I remember a group of friends and I like watching this and then endlessly referencing it. And but that was the Leprechaun movie, not this one.
Okay, yeah,
But it had that similar vibe.
right.
Like there was like that famous few movies. Wolves, what the hell? It's not anything related to what the heck this is. Sorry, I let it play in the background. Yeah, no, but this one was a kind of a fun. It was a fun romp. I had not seen this one before, nor Troll, the first
Mhm.
one. But the Leprechaun movie, it reminded me a lot of that. And kind of sharing those kind of fun quotes. It was very kitschy. This and definitely
Yeah.
wasn't gonna win any awesome Academy Awards or anything. But it was fun, although nonetheless,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, it's a movie called Troll 2, which infamously does not have trolls. It has gnomes in it.
Right,
No trolls
goblins and yeah.
are in it. They wanted to do a cash grab because I guess they thought Troll did very well for them. So they wanted to bring in that troll audience with Troll 2, but yeah, I don't I don't know if that marketing really worked for them. It was a very interesting movie. It was written by the director's wife,
Okay.
and in an interview, she said that she was upset and angry that all of her friends were becoming vegans, so she made vegans the the villains in this horror movie, which
That's
makes it
funny.
quite unique. I can't think of any other movie where the vegans are the villains, the evil spirits in a movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is like a comedy, dark comedy, I guess. That they peg it as. It's interesting. It was fun to. I've seen I've seen some I've seen some stinkers. This is one of them. From that, but that it's so bad it's good kind of thing.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that, but that's like where it crosses over. It's just like so
Yeah.
campy.
Yeah, there was a revival of the movie. It came out like in '98, I think it is. But there was a revival about 10 years later, and I don't know if you got to watch it, but there's a documentary called Best Worst Movie, where they kind of look at the phenomena of its reemergence and the fame of it, and they actually took the movie around and showed it in theaters across the country, and they had people like the father and the son. The son is grown up, 10 years later, and he's the one that actually did the documentary, and so
Okay.
he interviewed a bunch of the various people in it. The the only a handful of the actors were actual actors. They filmed it in Utah, and they did an open call for various people, and the people thought they were going in auditioning for bit parts, and one of those people was the father. He was actually studying to be a dentist at the time, and he had never acted before, and he got cast as the lead role as the father in the movie.
That's funny.
So yeah, the bad acting is probably a combination of the the people not knowing how to act as and also getting bad directions from an Italian man that did not speak English very well. So
That's funny.
and and there was reports of the actors saying that, well, they would try to um kind of Americanized the dialogue and from the butchered sort of translated from Italian kind of English that they were trying to make them say, and they would try to fix it to make it sound more natural. And the director said, "No, no, no. I know how Americans talk. You say
That's
it this
funny.
way." So a lot of the bad dialogue is there because the director wanted it there.
Right,
He
right.
thought he knew knew how Americans spoke. Also, the store owner, he was a bit creepy in this movie.
Hmm.
Turns out he was in a mental institution, and he'd got he got a day pass to come out and act. So he said in the movie, the documentary, he said he wasn't in his right frame of mind. So if he seemed crazy, he was crazy at that time.
In other words, probably the best acting of the movie.
Of the bunch, yeah, that guy right there, yeah. But yeah, it was very interesting. And then they also they found most of the actors that were in it. Like the daughter in it does not list this movie as one of her acting credits. Uh, quite
Funny.
quite smart of her to do so. And the mother, they found the mother. It talk about crazy. She seemed a little out there, so to speak. If you haven't seen the documentary, it's worth
Okay.
kind of. And also the dad in it, the dentist, I forget his real name there, George Hardy. He's quite a character. He's the main focus of the documentary. He's a very very out there kind of guy. It's kind of surprising that he didn't stick with acting because he's he's quite a character. And just him being a dentist in that a small town in Alabama. Just you could tell that he's sort of like the focal point of that community. He's everybody knows him, and he's quite a character. And I think since that time, I think he's maybe nearing retirement as a dentist, and he's done a few more movies lately, low budget horror movies, obviously, but yeah, so he's finally, I guess, dipping into the acting bug as well. And
Interesting.
there's not much of a story to it.
No,
That's why
not
me
really.
and Mike are kind of dancing around it. But basically, this family, father, mother, and then two children, a son and a daughter. They they do a family swap vacation where they swap houses with another family for a few days, I guess. And
Right.
so that family takes their home, which is in the city, and they go out to the country to Nilbog, which later they famously find out is goblin backward. Spoiler alert.
Mm.
And so they go to this small town to take it easy, and turns out that these people in the town are actually goblins, and they're trying to feed them this vegetarian goop that turns them, I guess, I don't know, kind of
Little
turns them into trees, and then they eat them.
right, kind of a little reverse Soylent Green going on there a little bit,
Right, right.
which is like, no, thank you.
And the kid's grandfather, who's passed away, his ghost comes back occasionally to save them at various times. And that that grandfather is both friendly and creepy at the same time. I don't
Right.
know how he does it, but you get this sense of, this warmness from him of, oh, that's grandpa, but then also there's a creepy edge to him as well.
Right. Yeah. Not quite a warming force ghost that you have in
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Yeah, and he becomes solid at times, and can fight the goblins. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Ghost Dad. Bill Cosby did a movie in the '90s called Ghost Dad, or late '80s, or I think it was '90s. But it was you're not quite clear. Like, is he a ghost or can he do things? Yeah, it's all over the place. But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
kind of that is akin to the consistency that you get with this
Mhm.
very fine
Yeah.
fine. I wouldn't say it's the worst ever,
Mhm.
but it could give it could give some a run for its money for
Yeah.
sure. It's not
Yeah.
something unless you just want to revisit. I probably won't revisit it for a while, quite a while.
Right.
Let's put it that way.
Right. Yeah. And Yeah, I think I know originally had been aware of it. I don't know. I think this was the first time I actually watched the movie, but I watched the documentary about 10 years ago. I think it was.
Okay. Okay.
Not long after it had came out and was on started out on the streaming services.
Mm.
But yeah, I watched it and yeah, so yeah, it's probably a every decade kind of movie. But yeah, it's a nice palate cleanser after Skinamarink. It does have a
Yes.
story that you could follow. Now, how good that story is another question. But you can obviously turn your brain off and watch this movie, and you're not going to get lost. You know what's going on. You may may not like what's going on, or but there's always going to be something that you can laugh at with it, and it's on a lot of it's on Amazon Prime, but a lot of
Hmm.
the free ones like Tubi has it as well.
Yeah, it's actually on a lot. Some of these I've never heard. I've never heard of Canopy before. I've heard of Pluto
Yeah,
and Tubi or Tubby. I don't know what that is, but
yeah,
I mean, I know what it is. After the
yeah,
Super Bowl, the commercial, they got some good trolling in. Speaking of
yeah.
trolling, they trolled pretty hard. But I was gonna say, this is probably one of the rare times where, if anything, the IMDb rating is very, very generous. It is no three. I'll say that. It's more
Well,
like like maybe a two. But
there's
you were saying, you just subtract one or whatever if it's a horror, or add one or whatever if it's horror. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
well, there's a little bit of story behind the rating because
Oh, okay.
at the when the documentary was made, it was the worst reviewed movie on IMDb at the
Oh,
time. It was a
okay.
0.1 or
Oh, wow.
0.0. so
Dang.
so yeah, that was one of the selling points of it. Is the worst movie ever. But over time, obviously, people that enjoy it, that have watch parties, that treat it like Rocky Horror Picture Show,
Right.
they've boosted up the rating, obviously,
Okay, that explains it.
from its
Okay.
original zero rating. So yeah, it was originally rated probably maybe a little worse than what it was actually was for its entertainment value, but again, yeah, it's it's probably a little higher than it actually should be. A solid two, I think, is probably where
Yeah,
it should lie. One or
yeah.
two.
There are worse ways to spend an hour and 35 minutes or so, two couple hours on
Yeah,
the thing.
definitely. Yeah, and I actually that there's a scene where the guy finds this girl and they end up in the witch's lair or whatever,
Right.
and they're attacking the girl, and the guy looks up and goes, "Oh my god!" and there's that scene's been clipped and put on YouTube, and I think it has close to. I hate to. Let's find it because it's I think it's like 40 million or 14 million views on it.
Yeah,
Um,
you'll have to pass me over the link.
let's see. Yeah, it's all right. So yeah, let's see. It's yeah, I inflated it a little bit. It's at 7.9 million.
Okay.
But
Okay.
yeah.
Probably more people. Well, I don't know at this point, but yeah.
But yeah, we'll post it in there, and you
Okay.
can
Cool.
put
Cool.
that in our links down below, and you can add to that growing number.
That's
uh,
old. Yeah, that's a pretty old YouTube one. Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's funny.
Yeah, it's oh my god, it's a they're eating her and then they'll eat me. But yeah, some of these actors are still acting, and but a lot of them don't claim it on their thing. There's and this is there's a group of teenagers. One of them's the girlfriend's boyfriend, and they follow in a RV for the guy to hook up with the girlfriend, and they become fodder for the goblins as well. One of them has a yellow shirt in it, and about halfway through filming, the crew loses his yellow shirt, and they say, "Oh, well, go to the store and buy one. Buy another yellow shirt. So they had the actor actually go and
Oh
buy his
God.
own yellow shirt. He goes, "What's the costume department for?" And
Right.
the guy that says, "Oh my God," he becomes like a plant in the movie, and his feet are in a pot, and they actually nail his shoes down, his actual shoes, the ones that he owns,
Oh
down
God.
into the
Poor
potted plant. So,
poor guy.
so yeah, he was a bit upset about that, and then they had him stand there in that plant for hours as they filmed, and so obviously he was complaining. So at one point, he the director asked the props person to make this mouthpiece, this bark, to put over his mouth so that he would shut up talking, and that's in the movie
Funny.
as well, so he wouldn't have
That's
to hear
funny.
him complain.
That's funny. Yeah, this was a palate cleanser, so to speak, for where we started. Definitely, my money's with you'll get more mileage out of unless you just want to invite friends over and watch something terrible and just talk over the movie the whole night. Then you'll
Right.
probably get maximum value out of this one. But the first one, yeah, for sure, is where your money
Yeah.
should be.
Right. Yeah. 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 There's the. Yeah, so yeah, we wanted to make our 100th episode a little interesting. So I think I don't know, we might have picked something better, but at least this was kind of unexpected, and kind of gives you a little challenge out there, audience, if you want to partake in our challenge.
Absolutely, yeah. No, it's one to watch. Like from the standpoint like Mystery Science Theater 3000 style, like where you kind of rip on it or you just have fun. Just
Absolutely.
just just at the sheer craziness, just the horrible.
Yeah, and I definitely recommend, if you watch Troll 2, or even if you're not don't really want to watch Troll 2 but are kind of interested in the making of the movie, I do say that Best Worst Movies, a really solid watch. I think it's about an hour and a half, and it's like I said, the dentist guy George Hardy is just entertaining alone, and it kind of it's a interesting snapshot of someone um, unexpectedly getting fame
Mm,
for something, because he started going to these showings of Troll 2, and he would run into these hundreds of people that recognized him and knew him and loved him and were wanting his autograph and this and that, and that whole era, that when you get thrown into that, you kind of, it goes to your head. I mean, it can't but do that. So
mm.
he was riding this high of, oh my gosh, everybody loves me and blah blah blah, and then then you take him um back home to his hometown, and then he's trying to get everybody excited, but they know him as their dentist.
Right, right,
He's
right.
not a big deal to them, maybe a big deal in the community as George Hardy, the dentist guy, but yeah, they obviously don't see him as this big actor, and they did have a special showing to benefit the local high school, showing Troll 2, and he was all hyped about it, and he said it was kind of interesting watching that audience watch it as opposed to the people that were fans of it. People were watching it in his small town as like serious, like, oh well, this is our George Hardy doing
Right.
a movie. They probably didn't have the same reaction as the fans, diehard fans of it, had, and so it was kind of eye opening for him to go from that high of being very popular to uh, realizing his place, and then they also did a few horror conventions and comic book conventions, and that general audience had no interest in Troll 2. They didn't know what it was. So he was trying to get people excited about the movie, and finding out that the average person's not going to be there for him,
Right.
for him,
Ain't happening.
and that a total crash of that bubble of fame. It's kind of interesting to see the progression of that, and him being being level-headed enough to realize what was going on instead of try to manage the waters and try to keep that level of fame in his mind. He comes back down to earth. Is like, okay, yeah, okay. Especially when he was at the horror convention, because he was meeting all these people from like Friday the 13th movies and Nightmare on Elm Street movies that only did one movie, and here they are so many decades later trying to cling on to that little bit of fame that they have. And he goes it's kind of sad that that they're trying to relive their past glories. And he goes, that's sort of what I'm doing, so it's kind of sad for me too. And it was kind of interesting for him to have that realization on camera of exactly where he's at. And I think in that kind of interview, he said, I don't know if I'm going to do this much more, So he kind of, it's a very interesting kind of arc of, and you get to see it on camera, of him going from that high of getting that immediate success that he didn't know that he had, and then realizing in the broad spectrum of things, it's not really anything at all. So
I won't be seeing this movie anytime soon, but I definitely have interest in that documentary for sure.
Yeah, so that's if any of the three, that one's the solid bet. Even if you're not interested in Troll 2,
Right.
that documentary is very interesting to watch. And so yeah, I recommend all three, but probably the documentary best of all. But yeah, yeah, it's interesting grab bag this week.
Yeah. So I'll say this is definitely not original if this has been around for this long, but the tagline is like, one was not enough. One was enough. Thank you.
Yeah, I have no interest in seeing Troll. And also, that documentary
Okay,
is
yeah.
also on Tubi and Amazon Prime as well. So you can
Okay.
piggyback if you want to do a night of a double feature of both.
Yeah, I'll
You
make
can
sure I put
definitely
that
do that.
in the show
Yeah.
notes, the description for sure, so people can see it right away. Yeah, no, I think that kind of rolls us up to the caboose
Mhm.
of the show for this week. But yeah, 100 episode. With that being said, we're on. Thomas is on Twitter. He'll put that out occasionally. I was
Yep.
kicked off Twitter, which is not surprising. I was, but that's okay too because I really don't
Playing
care.
off the good cop, bad cop, he is
Yeah,
always the bad cop.
I don't care. I saw it as a thing. I was on there forever before, way before. And then I got whatever. It doesn't matter. But the important thing is, we are Thomas is on Twitter, the first last of Nerdom.
Yep.
So you can find us there if you
Yep.
want to ping us a commentary, or in the comments section here of our YouTube
Yep.
channel. Mainly, that's where we are mainly at.
Yep.
At some
And
point, I got to revamp the website and plug in all of our old stuff in a very basic thing. But
yeah,
that's
no,
that'll
I
get done
heard
whenever.
before the show, Mike was talking about not we neither of us are on TikTok, but he said that he might start if we get 100 subscribers, he's going to open up a TikTok and do nerd dances on it.
Sure.
And so
Sure, I'll do that.
so yeah.
Absolutely.
So yeah, tell your friends, tell your neighbors. Let's boost up that subscriber count. See what we can get going here. And
Yeah, I might as well act a fool in the bottomless pit of fools that TikTok is. So I'm
yep.
sure. No problem there.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
and we really did have that conversation. I'm not pulling your leg. But yeah, yeah. I wanted to set the bar for the 100th episode very, very high, so that it'll be hard to top when we reach 200. So I don't know if we could surpass Troll 2. But gosh darn it, we're going to try it on the 200th episode. So yeah,
oh
you'll have to stick
God,
around for that.
I'm sure there are horrific. There's a back catalog of horrible things that we can self-inflict on the show and you. But for now though, we'd love it if you we've been doing this thing for a little bit. It's our 100th episode. And we've had a few guests over the course of the last year and change, and we'll continue that. But we need your help to show up and like. If you like, dislike, that's fine too.
Yep.
Tell us where we're wrong. Tell us where we're right. Tell us what you want to see. And we've
Yep.
got a lot more in store. And at some point, we're gonna bridge the gap here and do some kind of live streaming with video gaming.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll when things align, I don't think that's too far in coming. I told you
Yeah.
privately that there's a couple games out there that we can revisit, but in one's coming up. But regardless, I also let Thomas know that I bought a PlayStation 3 and a PS2, and
Mm-hmm.
I got a couple older titles. Obviously, Last of Us, and you can't find it anywhere. Obviously, digital you can get it, but if you want a physical copy, and I realized that Thomas is always a very strong advocate for physical media, and I realized, hey, with this Last of Us thing. That was like 2 consoles ago or 2 generations ago or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, really, I started talking to my son and I'm like, oh, my favorite consoles of all time are this and that. Da, da, da. It's like, you know what? Have a few extra shekels. Might as well snap up that before I forget it. Not because it's
Yep.
not going to become like it's going to disappear anytime soon, but my memory and focus, it'll be 5 years before I remember, oh, yeah, I was supposed to buy one of those and have it on the shelf just in case
Yeah. Yeah.
before it's too late. But in any case,
Yeah.
we welcome
And
you to our channel
yeah.
and more of our back catalog. We love it.
Right.
Love it, love it, love it.
Yep. Yeah, and I think we'll have a bigger gaming segment on our grab bag, which
Yep.
you can watch as well. We do that. This is our main podcast that comes out either Sunday or Monday, and then we have a grab bag that comes out on Wednesday. But yeah, I think there's quite a bit of different gaming, which is kind of surprising. We don't normally have a gaming segment, so yeah, if you want to stick around and watch our grab bag on Wednesday, we'll dig a little bit deeper. I think we have a scam alert that we're going to talk about with DK Oldies
Mm.
on our grab bag. So yeah, tune in there
All right.
for that, and we'll have a cringe update for one of our big cringe people as well.
Yeah, I tell you what, YouTube has been a massive. I kind of stepped away from YouTube a little bit for some of the drama from some of the creators that I was watching. This is like I don't care. I don't like move on. Like this like
Right?
week
Yeah.
it's crazy if it goes through day 3. It was going on for like over a month now. But it was like, done. I don't care. But anyway, having
Yep.
said that, we hope that we can see you soon and
Yep.
join us on Wednesdays and we'll keep the light on for you.
Yep. Yep. And you got to respect hospitality. You do have
Yeah,
to do that.
absolutely. I've been Mike.
Don't piss on it. Don't piss on it.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah, I've been Mike, and this has been the Skinamarink and Troll
Yep.
2.
And I'm Thomas. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.